It's a brand new day in Tokyo. Headlining the news is the recent statement from Goji Rokaku on the graffiti gangs plaguing the city. Quote, "My Rokaku forces are patrolling all major metropolitan areas to make sure these terrorists are behind bars where they belong."
Sup punks, new year. Sorry for being away for a while. Been going through it, but then again, aren't we all? Hard to come to terms that we are no longer on our way to the dark future. We're in it. Corpo's getting capped, rogue AIs crawling around the net, the infancy of quantum computers, robots, hollows, Delta City-esque schemes for new megacities, lots and lots of ads.
Humans are so 2023. Hire an AI. This is a real-life billboard in San Francisco, California.
When they do build that shining smart city on the hills, hope you punks descend upon it and tag it like this. But if we are in the dark future timeline, well, we're in it to win it. The mission statement hasn't changed, but my view on the mission has. Now let's get to the business. Once more, for the new and the uninitiated. Hello and welcome to What's Up Punks, where we take a look at the myriad of subgenres and subcultures underneath that umbrella of punk. I am, as I always have been, Nihilus, your sardonic tour guide through these vast vistas of punk. I have no face, yet I scream, "Fuck you, aggressive menace." If you don't get that classic cyberpunk reference, you cannot tell me that Aggressive Menace is not a great name for a punk band. Anyway, today we'll be taking a look at Shibuya punk, also known as Shibuya Kai, or graffiti punk. Grab your inline skates, your spray paint cans, cue up the soundtrack to either The World Ends With You or Jet Set Radio, your choice. Don't knock anyone at the crossing. Let's go! Yeah, not gonna lie. Major reason why I'm covering this first in 2025 is right here. Johnny would absolutely hate this. What is Shibuya punk? Shibuya itself is a special ward in Tokyo, Japan, a major commerce central. Shibuya houses two of the busiest railway stations in the world, Shibuya Station and Shinjuku Station. It's home to Hachiko, the bronze dog statue of the good boy that waited 9 years for his friend to get off a train, only to meet him again in the afterlife. The scramble, which can have around 3,000 people cross at any one time, long considered to be a place of pass-by and youth culture. Tokyo residents consider Shibuya the crossroads or heart of Tokyo. Shibuya is considered the most socially interactive and trend-setting neighborhood in Tokyo. Safe to say, it's a mecca of fashion, art, music, history, and culture. If it makes waves in Shibuya, it eventually catches on everywhere else, and helps add to the character of Shibuya itself. It's also in a lot of games and anime. Good segue because this one is mostly a game and music genre. Now, for all those that don't like it when I cover punk music, do not panic, I have more than enough to cover on just the speculative genre. So we're leaving Shibuya Kai for another time, another day. As for the genre itself, it's Y2K's street fashion, rolling down the road and defying gravity and the law on a board, bike, or skate. As you try to rise up the ranks in a world that has its own rules, separate from the rest of society. You rise up the ranks not for tawdry money, but for honor, pride, or just to test yourself. It's graffiti, it's the tribe, it's taking back your streets from invasive menace, thinks it knows better than the punks that live here, just because it's an authority. It can be chromed out near future, but can also be very contemporary. Them visuals. In essence, Shibuya punk is the old punk rule style over substance. Not that there ain't a lot to love about the substance, just that the essence, the look, and the vibe is precedent.
Peace, unity, passion, and just having fun. And no weak shit.
Examples being Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio. They got a lot of style, but the gameplay and story is a bit simple. Not that that really matters, Crazy Taxi introduced a lot of people to Offspring.
Hey, come on over, have some fun with Crazy Taxi! Yeah!
And Bad Religion. While JSR introduced people to the fact that Japan will always have the best fashion. Those are my actual boots. Bless the god of steel toes. Or where the two intersect, Ollie King. It's just fucking fun. Back on point. Technology. Mostly freedom movement is the big tech here, but there is also a lot of cyberpunk in this one, especially in Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Hi Lord Conti Head from Fooly Cooly. Hi Tokyo 2 Defense Program from Ava. Hi Tachikomas from Ghost in the Shell. Hi Bato's Eyes from Ghost in the Shell. Man, you looked weird in live action. Then we got the cyborgs of Noise Tank Crew and Jet Set Radio Future. There's also the cyberspace and very cyberpunk look of RKGK. The world going pharmapunk after B Corp takes over, right down to the jumpsuits. Just replace pill popping with the digital fentanyl of evil doom scrolling. Huh, that didn't even move the needle. Okay, Vala also rolls around on spray paint. I think somewhere between Naked Lunch and Marmalade as currency, this series broke me. Anyway, both RKGK and No Straight Roads have the absolute dismantling of corp robots with the power of rock. And graffiti. I wasn't sure where to put this in tech or aesthetic, but hell, they're using it as a weapon, so fuck it, both.
Obviously, don't go and do that, please.
Hey, you do whatever you like.
We can't condone anything of the sort.
No, we can't. Live!
Graffiti means a lot of things to a lot of different people. For some, it's vandalism. For others, it's an art movement from the streets that needs to be on the streets because it speaks to that culture or the feelings of people that live there. Sometimes, it's a penis. Other times, it's an amazing technical skilled work of badassness and beauty. Other times, they're a massive pain in the ass because the gov will charge business owners for having it on their buildings. And that's totally not a way to further criminalize the act in the eyes of the community, turning people on one another. And we don't live in a police state. Regardless, in Shibuya Punk, it's a weapon with varying degrees of lethality. From just tagging corpse to blowing up tanks and mechs to RKGK. And well...
Enjoy the fireworks!
Whatever your stance, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. We also got some AIs running around, like Doombox from Lethal League, and the autonomous workforce of Annalise Corp, to the band 101 of No Straight Roads. That's the micro view. The macro view is more... blades, skates, bikes, anything you can grind on a rail. Also jetpacks, sucker. Like I said, freedom of movement.
There are no boundaries. The world is their road and the sky is the limit. Climbing higher and higher to the heavens themselves.
The DIY is strong here, and making your own gear or at least customizing your kit.
What's that for? I've been cooking up miracles. This beauty's gonna spin your board into a winner. I call it the Reki Longa Special Rolling Slider, or the Reki L2S for short.
You come up with the weirdest names for stuff.
Aesthetic.
Got to style all over our opponents.
It's a cartoony style, often cel-shaded, but that's not a hard, fast rule. Just that it is stylized. Street fashion, cyberpunk, we got way too much to cover in this section. I'm not defining that. Maybe next time. Big takeaway, cyberpunk, but fun. Less serious. The world's not going to end at any one moment, but corps are still up our asses. Y2K futurism. This one I will define because it's kind of dumb. Y2K futurism is characterized by slick futuristic fashion, technology, and music, signaling the optimism of the third millennium, the 21st century. Much like Ray Punk or Ray Gun Gothic we covered way back, it's a future that never was. Huh. I wonder why.
Who owns this power station? Gov or Corp?
Is there any difference? Who do you think pulls the government's strings?
Oh, yeah. That's why. God, I miss it when Oakleys were cool. Shibuya Punk's aesthetic is based on various media that surrounds streetwear, music, graffiti, and street gangs, in a contemporary or a near-future urban setting. Let's break those down. First and foremost, and I know we've covered this point in the past, but it bears repeating, that punks always come correct.
And looking fire is what hypes me up for a fight.
Why walk when you can strut? Why blend in with a crowd when you can command attention? It's where the Shibuya and all this really shows its stuff. We got some well-dressed punks in this one. Part of graffiti is ingraining a part of yourself on the street. Street fashion is the same, but on your body. Also, well, it always comes back to music, don't it? Never forget, in whatever you make or consume, punks, music is a character in and of itself, and must be used and appreciated properly. It can elevate an already memorable scene into something burned into their minds for all eternity. Or make a frankly tedious time just way worse. Unsurprising, the genre about youth and rebellion, from both authority and fucking gravity, has some bangers. Before we get into that, a prayer to an outer god looking in the copybot. Oh great cosmic horror that all here on YouTube fear. Protect the small channel from your mighty wrath, as we use snippets of music to inform and find new listeners to the sound, as is allowed under fair use. Amen. Alright, with that out of the way.
He's coming out again for a new point. Get your bets down, ladies and gentlemen. 4-4's the point, mark 4. Ace, deuce, scraps, wants 4. Ace, deuce, scraps, wants 4. Ace, deuce, scraps, wants 2, baby. And rising to the top. Just been hang up, come on up, let's hang up. Just been hang up, come on up, let's hang up.
Oh, time to break the chain, oh baby.
We talked about graffiti before, but it's not just a weapon or an act of civil disobedience, or even art. It's also about reputation inside its own subculture. It's marking territory for both others trying to rise up through the ranks of style and skill, but also from outside forces trying to take it as well. If society won't fight back, the tribe will. This is common in a lot of punk media, but especially in this one is society losing touch with the people that live in it. Thus, the gangs of punks in the city rise up to defend it. We got the standard issue corps pushing agenda for their own sake, like Rakuku Corp or RGKG's B Corp. Also, people like the Safety League, watch group trying to end the Lethal League.
Boring. Baseball wasn't... So they finally jazzed it up.
For safety, only to create a berserking Doombot because, you know, safety. And it's possible also some corpo corruption given where the anti-grav balls come from. On the opposite side of the spectrum, we have NSR, a not evil record label. Wow, can you tell this is fiction? Well, not evil, but just douchebags, believing EDM should be the only music in Vinyl City, thus spawning the musical revolution of bringing rock back to the streets via Bunk Bed Junction. Or just Svine being, Svine. Why go after real crime when you can make your numbers accosting taggers and people riding around on wheels? Where did Shibuya Punk start?
Hey!
Who's there?
So you guys are the famous renegades, huh?
The renegades were confronted by a mysterious challenger. Who is this bubbly jetpack girl?
Oh, no one, just a stand for your progenitor. Not kidding, her name is Jet, she has skates, and one of Jet Set Radio's composers, Hideki Naganuma, also worked on this game. She's just missing one thing.
Headphone squad assemble!
Yeah, Jet Set Radio, developed in 2000 for Sega, is the start of all this. Like Sky Captain World of Tomorrow did for Diesel Punk, Jet Set Radio put this kind of style and vibe on the popular zeitgeist. Naganuma, if not the father of this genre, then definitely the cool uncle, said in an interview that he and his team behind Jet Set Radio couldn't make a new one because they were all too old to make it. This is hysterically untrue because he composed songs for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and despite the style, it came out in 2023. All I'm saying is this stuff hits like a truck, man. He's still got it. All I'm saying.
Bring you another Tokyo Underground pirate radio broadcast from Jet Set Radio. I'm gonna bust into your head through your cute little ears and blow your mind with my sexy voice and out-of-sight sounds.
My recommendations. Air Gear. There is an absurd part of me that misses this edgy kind of anime with titties and cursing. The anime is a little jank and cost-saving in some places, but I appreciate a main character that is unabashedly into people. I would trade him any day for the legion of main characters that don't understand attraction. I also love the feeling of freedom, of a world that feels real, has a history, and isn't just plot points. The races and not just battles seem pretty fresh in the current year. Speaking of which, besides the jank, it holds up real well for a 2000s anime. The tracks are good and feel appropriate. The livestream aspect, despite not calling it that, message boards, despite not being as much of a thing anymore, works for a sport that would be underground. As someone that has also been part of a niche hobby, the dialogue works. If I had one complaint, and it's a small one, a battle that focuses on tricks, not racing or beating the crap out of your opponent, would have broken things up a bit and been fun.
There are like 200 steps and the rails are garbage.
Well, hey, if it's too hardcore.
You really think you can goad me into doing a trick like that?
There are girls watching.
There's a Lucas Lee character, and Scott tricks him into grinding to death. I'd never fall for that. What kind of idiot would write this?
Anyway, new tech by the name of Air Trex, extremely small motors that can fit inside skates, has come up, creating a new breed of skater called Storm Riders. Crews are formed that compete in various events using ATs for honor, glory, and rep. Mike is a middle school boy who's the toughest street fighting punk on the east side of town, and part of a gang called the East Side Guns. With his 90% smoke show adopted sisters, the enigmatic Sleeping Forest crew showing him the ropes, and Simka, being Simka, can Ike ascend to the throne of Sky King, or like Icarus, are his wings made of wax? Strap on, tune in, find out. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. So, Jet Set Radio, but what if we made it more cyberpunk? More wheels, not just skates, but boards and bikes? And here's the real shocker. What if we gave it an actual story that doesn't involve the devil's vinyl?
It turns out the acetate he was working on recorded something when he died. Bitch, don't. The voice of the deceiver.
That's an urban legend, mate.
2-month hiatus, and I still can't seem to get away from Johnny Boy. Fine like wine, sucker. Now, I'm not hating on Jet Set original recipe or future. It does have a story. It's, however, a very basic story. Didn't need to be complicated, both because of the style at the time, and that wasn't the mission. It was to make a fun, replayable game that had a youthful, energetic vibe, down to the fact the characters are never idle, they bob to the music. Mission accomplished. That uncomplicated story is also why BRC is on this list, and Jet Set Either isn't. I feel this is just a more polished version of the concept, with the additions mentioned, and bringing back the input command prompt for doing bigger graffiti from Jet Set Original. Now, I'm not going to go into details on the story, I want you to experience that for yourself, but it touches on blind ambition, misinformation, what is self, and how family roots make up who you are, but also can be a hindrance. The world ends with you. We do not have the time for me to go into how much I love this series. This is up there with Dot Hack as just my favorite things in existence. It's my favorite DS game and Switch game. It's why I have a Switch. The ranking goes Tweenie, Tweenie the anime, Neo Tweenie. You play the Reaper's game. You have 1 week to win. If you do, you get the ultimate prize, a chance to come back to life. As always, things are not as they seem. There's a bigger game at work. The very fate of Shibuya. If I did have one complaint about the series, it's Neo Tweenie, except for the main character and the cat girl, whose names I can't even remember off the top of my head. That kind of speaks to the game. All the other new characters were kind of nothing burgers. However, gameplay itself much more polished than the original Tweenie, and I enjoyed at least playing it, if not actually integrating with the story. And of course, the music always hit. Good lord, I would pay to have an anime of this made. Change nothing. Use the same art style, engine, writers. This is gold. This one, like the last one, feels a little out of place as freedom of movement is not really felt here. Chai is kind of heavy in my hands, but that's replaced with the whole world being on a beat, which I really liked, but I feel making that part of the combat system wasn't a great call, as I can't get into my own flow as I try to match the beat. That, however, is swept under the rug by how good the music is and eccentric the characters are. I don't usually go in for the too dumb to function character like Chai, but he's got this great Jack and Daxter vibe with 303, his robotic kitty cat companion. I so want a plushie of that cat. And Peppermint. Okay, I don't generally like being placated to, but a netrunner, chromed out, post-apocalyptic girl in stockings, I'll let that pass. Peppermint is a great straight man and royal spark person to Chai's Star-Lord energy, down to the outdated audio device that started this whole thing. Chai is a gimpy arm and signs up to be the test subject for a chrome test. Only for, you know what, I can't even explain this, run it!
What a piece of junk. Huh?
He is now seen as a defect hunted down by Vanderlei Technologies. While being hunted, Chai and Peppermint uncover that it gets worse.
Corps have long controlled our lives, taken lots, and now they're after our souls.
If you like linear action-adventure games that are fun, colorful, with good music, and random Evil Within reference, check out Hi-Fi Rush. What happened to Shibuya Punk? Nothing? Yeah, this one is alive and well. You haven't heard of it because it's a bit cult classic-y. Even I'll admit we're a bit off the beaten path here. While I have definitely shown its punk ideology, and while a lot of punk genres ain't that dark, with its cartoony style, this one's even less dark, so people might not see the punk in it all. As with other punk genres, don't let the trappings mute the message. But back on task, Ragugake, apologies if I got that wrong, released last year, Bomb Rush in 2023, and as the bit from a second ago, Sega is developing a new Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio. So this one is not going anywhere. Real life Shibuya punks. I'm kind of floored I don't have more for this section. I'm sure if I did the music genre up, I would, but here's what I got, punks. Rocking out at Club Heavy Sick. That club has to be from the 90s. Or the up-and-comers learning how to skate at Mihata Skate Park. How do I feel about Shibuya Punk? Oh, I love it. I'll admit, I never had interest in Skate 8 or Air Gear or the many offshoots of Jet Set. Kinda saw them as anime Tony Hawk and wrote them off till this video. And I secretly always wish I had tried longboarding my friends that did do that back in the day, instead of just being the guy behind the camera, recording them. Curse of being that guy. But how can you not like something that's cartoony, fun, and a middle finger to authority? It's also been an absolute blast researching this one, something fun to do in a dark time. Before we close things up, welcome back Emmy, Ray, and Fabs to the show. Their socials are in the description. Give them some love. Both ladies are far too good for the show. Thank God for Craigslist and skinny nerds into Dead Rising, or I would never met either of you. Anyway, this has been What's Up Punks. Till next time, walk on the dark side a bit with the night creatures. You might like it more than you think. Human maximization is not a term, but let a witchy woman teach you a few things. As always, be a no good, dirty punk. You know it, you love it, here's the spiel, let's do it. Hit subscribe to be my subscriber. Hit the bell so you know when I've actually posted stuff.
Still no idea why those two things are separate now, but whatever. And of course, hit like to appease the algorithm gods. All fear and praise. On a list of whatever YouTubes, I am also probably not going to get any ad revenue for these videos, so if you would be so kind, check out that Patreon and the GoFundMe. Links in the description.